It's a great honor and a privilege to introduce Freddie.
Freddie Deuchar, yeah. Freddie Wonders on YouTube and Instagram, Freddie Wonders.
And you from Scotland?
My family's from Scotland. I grew up in London and then I went to uni in Nottingham. I studied psychology and mental health research, and then I worked a lot with kids and on gardening projects, small businesses, and I kind of got those itchings to leave and run away before I had to settle down. So I jumped on a flight to Marseille for about £9, and then I slowly hitchhiked across Europe. I spent about 8 months doing so, and I soon ended up in Turkey, which was a beautiful country, and my first encounter with the Islamic world. I felt very welcomed there. You know, it was interesting to see these people from a very different culture that I assumed wouldn't accept me. That was what was quite a big shock, actually, was that even though I wasn't Muslim, they were very warm and welcoming, very keen to share their food and their ideas, their language. And yeah, so I explored Turkey for about 3 months. Did a few workaways, did some kite surfing, had a bit of fun, you know, while I was traveling. But a big part of the travel for me is about learning, trying to learn about the cultures I encounter. So after Turkey, I went into Iraq. I came in through Kurdistan, and again, the people are unbelievably welcoming. They're so excited to see a foreigner. That was the real shock, is they'd come over and they'd grab my hand and they'd be very warm. You know, I'm used to British culture where everyone's very nice and reserved and quiet and peaceful, but actually they're thinking bad things usually, and these guys would come and grab your arm, and it was amazing to see. Very, very welcoming. Yeah, then I made my way down again, hitchhiking across Iraq.
But when you were in Iraq, you were in Baghdad?
I did, yeah. So started in Kurdistan, and yeah, I hitchhiked the whole way down. So strangers, I'd stand on the side of the road, put my thumb out, and car after car would stop.
And you weren't nervous?
At first, when I first got into the country, yes, a little bit. And then I started meeting the people again and again and again, positive experiences. And so eventually I'd put my thumb out and I had no fear at all. I know that within 5 minutes someone will stop their car for me.
And the language barrier, it wasn't a problem?
Yeah, they speak bits of English. I learned a few words in Arabic, but I think over the whole journey I've gotten quite used to learning body language and just smiles. There are a few symbols as well, like this means the car's full, yeah. This means sorry, or this is like inshallah, you know, God willing.
Amazing.
But yeah, I ended up in Baghdad. I only intended to stay for a few days, but I made a friend there in the city centre, and so set up shop and had a really wonderful time. A lot of chai drinking, a lot of shisha smoking, a lot of cafes, a lot of falafel, a lot of like hummus style dips where they'd often have bread and you dip it in, but a lot of dish dashes as well. You wouldn't believe it, but I actually went on a Shia pilgrimage to Karbala. It's the Shia branch of Islam. There are about 15 to 20 million Muslims which go to this one city in Karbala. I mean, you'd think tense, right? There are points even where you're walking over American flags, for example.
Really?
But they're faded, and so I thought maybe they'll have bad feelings about British who colonized their country, who killed lots of them, who put puppet presidents, puppet rulers, and then the rulers would change their mind, and so we killed them. We did horrible things in their part of the world. And every time I'd meet someone, their eyes light up. They come and they hold my hand and they're saying, "Where are you from?" "England." "Wow, London. I've been so excited to see London." With few words of English, but along the whole walk, we walked for 50 kilometers. Every few meters, they'd give you more food, more drinks for free.
Wow.
And you get into Karbala, there's a big monastery with a big temple and a tomb for one of their descendants of Muhammad, Imam Ali, I think his name was. And that's where it gets a little bit crazy, is they're all trying to touch this tomb. It's supposed to give you good luck and blessings, but the emotion was raw. You know, you see people there on their knees, hands out, crying. They've got pain from other things, and it's like they turn it into grief for Ali, this guy that was killed fighting for what he believed in. And it strikes me how similar that is to the Jewish mindset. You know, they have a lot of, I was even looking at a photo today, and you see the imam saying the prayer, not the imam, the rabbi saying the prayer, and you see the power in his expression. You know, he's got a lot of emotion in there. He's drawing on something within, which I like to think is Allah, is God. And so I'm excited to learn more about Judaism. I've now arrived in Israel. It's quite a shock to see a quite Western culture relatively to what I've been experiencing so far. But so far I meet wonderful people like yourself. Again and again, Israelis welcome me into their home, and so I feel like I'm in a very blessed position to meet people from both sides of the conflict and maybe hear their views. And I, to my heart, believe if they meet each other, they will love each other, because they have the same kindness, generosity, submission, acceptance, loyalty, devotion to a higher being. You know, it's the same core. Maybe they use different words, different languages, but I mean, they believe in the same prophets and the same books, so it's kind of difficult to see where those borders are drawn. I'm excited to learn more. I intend to meet some rabbis while I'm here, to go to synagogues if I'm welcome.
Sure, you're welcome.
I hope so, yeah, I'm excited.
I'll tell you, and you were in South Africa?
I was in South Africa, yeah, that was a while ago with a friend that lives in Johannesburg. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy story.
So I'll tell you something about South Africa. During apartheid, where blacks were like banned from going to churches, and the one place that they felt very comfortable was in a synagogue. They were never ever turned away from a synagogue. No one's ever been turned away from a synagogue.
Wow,
so that's
nice.
And Mandela's the only person that gave him a job was Sadelsky, a Jew.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so it's in the Long Walk to Freedom.
It is.
So that's amazing. So here you must go, if you can, on the light train. You'll see everybody together, Jews, Christian, Muslims. If you go to the hospitals, you don't know who's an Arab doctor, Jewish doctor. It makes no difference. You know, what's amazing is the soccer team, the Israeli national soccer team, which they've done pretty well. Yeah. So about a third of the team is Muslim.
Interesting.
And Maccabi Haifa, they just beat Juventus in the Champions League. A lot of the players there are Muslim as well, and they're so united. Everybody's united.
It's amazing to see. That's got to be the goal, right?
You can see that's the goal, yeah.
To open that communication. Wow. And Jerusalem's been that place for centuries, for millennia. It's culture on top of culture on top of culture. So
and it's holy
it is a holy land
the three different religions, to all of mankind.
Yeah, so honoured to be here. Yeah, thank you for welcoming me.
So just have a wonderful trip and be safe.
Thank you.
And the last thing everyone's going to ask, what did you do for money? How did you get around?
Good question. So I worked as a teacher back in England. I had some savings, and so I spend very little money. I've got a budget of £100 a week. So I hitchhike, which saves money for transport, and I sleep on strangers' sofas or in hostels, or I do a lot of wild camping as well. I have a tent and a hammock with me. I actually wild camped in Iraq as well a few times, sleeping on roofs. I was nervous sleeping on roofs in the middle of the night, you know, when you hear people shouting, but not more so than I would be nervous sleeping in London. I actually felt safer in Iraq than I did in London, which is crazy, right? You wouldn't at all expect it. But the thing is, the people catch you. In London, you have kind of bad looks from people. You're used to being very independent, and I get the sense that the Islamic world, like the Jewish world, is very family orientated. You have a lot of community around you, a lot of structure, a lot of support, and I think that's something we miss in England a lot. And so I feel I love it. You know, I know I can just walk out onto the street, fall over metaphorically, and someone catches me. Someone always comes over and helps me, offers me support, wants to share their food, their time.
In fact, you know, if you ask somebody for directions, you'll see people will argue.
Okay.
I'll come because you have to go this way, you have to go that way. Everybody wants to really help.
That's sweet. Yeah.
Well, have a wonderful stay here, and it's just such an honor and a privilege to meet you.
Thank you. How are you?
And be safe.
Yeah, you too.